For more than 20 years, CTV has captured the moments that matter in our community. From our studios in St. Clair, you're watching Focus with Paul Dingeman.
Well, welcome again. We are on location again as the new studios for the Focus program and for CTV are being finished at St. Clair City Hall. We're glad you're along with us today. A really special guest, one that we enjoy interviewing each and every year for the Whistles on the Water, Mr. David Michelson. Nice to see you.
Great to be here today. Thank you.
We are in the location where the Whistles on the Water happens. And it's up in the parking lot behind us. There's a huge boiler that Mr. Al Johnson puts together. And then what happens?
Well, we have a group of very dedicated collectors who bring whistles from all over the Great Lakes area. It's probably the largest gathering of steam whistles anywhere in the world.
Really?
Yes, indeed. There are only a few other whistle blows in the United States, and only one other outside of the United States that I'm aware of. And this one by far is the largest.
One of the differences is that it's in the word steam. There are whistles still now on the Great Lakes and on ships all around the world, but they're not steam powered.
Well, technically, those are not whistles.
Okay.
Those are horns. We still refer to them as whistles. However, the steam whistle itself is simply an artifact of the industrial past. Once upon a time, the steam whistle was a necessity, born out of necessity for communication, signaling. You have to remember, at a time when we didn't have radio, we didn't have telephone, we didn't have loudspeakers, we needed something to warn people, to signal that the steam whistle was born out of necessity. The inventor was Adrian Stevens, about 1840 in England. And originally, the whistle was a device to warn the engineer that the water level in the boiler was getting too low.
Okay.
But then they discovered that the steam whistle had other purposes, and the idea quickly caught on with the railroads and with factories, and then finally with ships. And by the time of the Civil War, steam whistles were everywhere. And for the next 50, 60 years, a person could not go anywhere in the civilized world and not hear steam whistles.
There is a certain quality to them, a certain ambiance to them, a certain what's the word I'm looking for? That
it's a certain quality. A certain quality. The sound of each steam whistle actually is unique. Even though they're manufactured the same, there are small, peculiar differences that can cause the sound of two steam whistles that are made exactly the same, but yet they sound a little bit different to our ear. I was blessed, and I am probably the happiest person the day of this. I was blessed to have a great uncle who could tell the sound of the steam whistles passing on the river. He knew the ship simply by the steam whistle.
Yeah, they have their distinct quality.
It's like a person's voice.
Yeah,
You could hear. He would hear this, and he could tell me the name of the ship, and by gosh, I'd turn around and look, and there it was. Yes.
Okay, so coming up at the September 28th, I believe is the day. It was a Saturday.
9 a.m. in the morning.
9 a.m. in the morning, right in the parking lot above us here.
Right behind us here, where the big boiler will be set up.
What happens during the day?
Well, we have probably at least 3 periods in which we are blowing whistles. At 9 a.m., approximately 11:30 a.m., and then another round about 2 p.m. We conclude by 4 p.m. in the afternoon, so don't get here late, folks.
Right.
And our goal is to make sure that everyone who brings a steam whistle has an opportunity to hear it. Now we have the main boiler up in the parking lot. We have a smaller manifold that's connected to the boiler where we put small whistles like this little fella here. And the owners of those whistles have the opportunity to actually blow their own whistle. In addition to that, the public has the opportunity to blow a whistle, have their picture taken, and we provide those pictures to the public free in a nice little folder. The folder will feature our featured ship of this year, which I'll explain in a minute. Okay. And it's a wonderful little keepsake souvenir. And for many people, first of all, the generations now, our generation remembers a few steam whistles being around. Generations now have never heard them. Mm-hmm. Yep, they are non-existent.
It's a wonderfully unique St. Clair event.
Absolutely.
Committee, Al Johnson, you, Mr. Dan Lockwood, all put this
Eric
together.
Cameron.
Eric Cameron. How many years ago?
This is our 11th year. Can you believe it? Wow. 11 years now we've been at this, and it's amazing. You know, there were those who thought, can we even get this off for 1 year? Well, now it's 11 years.
One of the features that is offered during the whistles on the water is you. And the fact that we hook up the public address system for the whole boardwalk here, and you are describing each and every whistle, what its history is, right, where it came from, and that sound, that voice of yours goes throughout the park, Palmer Park here. So you can be down by the Voyager, relaxing, watching the ships go by, and hear the whistle go off and hear your whole description.
Absolutely. And actually, as I tell our audience, the best sound for most of these whistles, because of the fact that they were meant to be heard at great distances, it's better to be back a quarter or a half a mile away to hear them. And thanks to our loudspeaker system, you can hear the narration, right, and you can hear the whistle. Perhaps the only thing you can't do is actually see the whistle. Okay. But to me, it's actually better if you're a little distance away.
Another thing that's going to be happening at 2 o'clock on Saturday is the St. Clair Rotary Club's drawing of their freighter raffle. They have a fundraiser that allows people to buy a ticket for $10 and get a ride on a Great Lakes freighter from the Detroit Edison plant up to Superior and turn around and come back. And that drawing is at 2 o'clock. Tickets are $10. If you've always wanted to go on one of the freighters, here's a great opportunity. You can send a check to St. Clair Rotary, P.O. Box 441, St. Clair, 48079, and they'll send you a ticket. Or you can come the day of the event, and they'll have tickets here.
Well, and it's the only opportunity that the general public has to be able to ride a Great Lakes freighter. You cannot, because of insurance purposes, you cannot otherwise purchase a ticket to ride on a Great Lakes freighter. It's a very privileged opportunity, and the companies provide these as fundraising opportunities. It's a very, very nice thing that the companies do.
Let's go back now to the synopsis of what's happening, what time it starts, what people can do, what do they have to do, and what's the admission price?
The admission price is free, naturally. The public is offered earplugs, and we do suggest that earplugs, if you're going to be around in the immediate area, because you're talking about volumes that are pretty much up in the threshold of pain if you're in the area. So you really should have the earplugs. Also, if you're coming to this, please do not bring your pets. Okay. Dogs. I've seen some dogs here, and it's awful that dogs have to endure this. Yeah. I just wanted to point out quickly too, our featured whistle this year is from a ship called the William H. Donner. William H. Donner still exists as a transfer barge. The interesting thing about this ship is the fact that it was built as an exact replacement for a ship that was lost in the Great Storm of 1913, the Charles S. Price. The Charles S. Price currently lies upside down in Lake Huron, just a matter of a few miles north of the Blue Water Bridge.
Right.
And the M.A. Hanna Company needed another ship, and they rushed the William H. Donner to completion in early 1914. And 105 years later, the William H. Donner still exists, and we are fortunate to have her whistle now, because she is not an active operating ship anymore. She's simply a barge. And we have that whistle, and that will be our featured whistle this year.
Pretty cool. It's pretty unique. It's certainly all St. Clair. Dave Michelson, you are the encyclopedia of whistles. We thank you for that, and we encourage you and your family, and as David said, probably leave your pets at home. Your dogs, the noise gets pretty loud, but there are earplugs that the committee provides, and it's just a unique, wonderful experience that you got to try. Paul Dingeman, Dave Michelson from down in Palmer Park.
Thanks for watching Focus with Paul Dingeman. Focus is produced at the CTV Community Television Studios in St. Clair. For over 20 years, CTV has captured the moments that matter to our community.